it goes back to the incoming administration and the assembly that will be coming on board after that. It has taken forever passing, this bill into an act, and every time we get into the close of a particular assembly, we see some kind of busy nature of everyone trying to look into that bill again, just the way we had seen in times past. What is the restriction, as an expert in that area, that you think is holding this bill back from moving on to becoming an act?
As far as I'm concerned, apart from probably selfish interests, sectional and political interests, there is no reason why we can't pass that in PIB into law after adjustment. I keep hearing people saying, please, why not? The PIB is too complex. Break it, segment it. I have read the Petroleum Industry Act of a particular country, a section only on fiscal regimes is more than 200 pages. The entire PIB, the one we saw our draft, is just 223 pages. And as I speak today, right, we have oil and gas journalists or editors. We have oil and gas engineers. We have oil and gas lawyers. We have oil and gas accountants. We have oil and gas environmentalists. Tell me what you have in that PIB that we cannot sit down, analyze, dissect, and anatomize, and cannot correct it and pass it into law with these pockets of experts. Tell me. Because the accounting, we have oil and gas accountants. Even if you say, how do we convey? We have oil and gas journalists. If you say we have environmental concerns, we have oil and gas environmentalists. We have oil and gas lawyers. So what are those clauses? What are those complex things that we cannot discuss and analyze? But some of us knew before now that there were three standing or key issues that some people, for one reason or the other, which personally I see as basic perception, that couldn't allow this PIB to be passed to become an act. One, the power of the minister, right? The second one was, a host community fund. And the third one, frontier exploration. I can tell you, in terms of the power of the minister, whether you accept it or not, every country you go to, after the president and the vice president, the minister for defense of that country is a powerful person. The minister for finance is always a powerful person. Then the minister for energy, in the case of Nigeria, which we call petroleum minister, is a powerful person. These three ministers are powerful everywhere you go because of the sensitive positions they occupy. So what you need to do is this. If you feel there is an abuse of a particular office, all you need to do is to hope for an opportunity to come for likely replacement. And if you need to replace, all you need to do is to look for a citizen of that country's extraction with the requisite credentials and to make sure that person will not morally abuse that office. It's as simple as that.
There are no checks.
Come back?
There are no checks.
No, but when you look at it, when you say morally, as long as the person is not morally, carry out due diligence if you want to employ or give technocrats opportunities to be your lieutenants. But if you say you want to dilute an office or a given seat just because of because you think that power is being abused, I'm telling you, it's just a perception. If you have the right person who is morally upright, the sanctity of that office will be respected. The same thing with the power of who is the Minister for Finance or Defense.
I have listened to your submissions, and I'm just thinking that subsidy is currently present in the system as it stands right now. And we've been seeing the fuel queues. What, in your estimation, is responsible for it? The simple reason why we are having this. First of all, let me tell you, initially it was more of a rumor, right? And rumors, you know what rumors can do. There was this rumor that even the monies, that were used to pay the marketers, were borrowed funds. And that on its own sent jitteries and panic across the strata of the country, not only to marketers.
Because the general thinking was that the country has issues, or the government of the day has issues with solvency or liquidity.
Because you seem to be hinging this on the non-passage of the PIB, which a lot of people will not agree with you
What?
on. You're hinging the scarcity, the current scarcity of petroleum products on a
the scarcity, I analyzed why I said perception powers of the minister, you know, the frontier exploration, which I didn't explain, you know, and the host community fund.
Yeah, the PIB, a lot of people will agree, could, you know, currently help us maximize benefits from the petroleum
Yes.
sector. But
Depending
then
on whether you-
it is
you
not the immediate cause of the current scarcity that we're
The current
witnessing, is it?
scarcity is very simple. Your currency is weak. You live in a country where overnight, you know, the central bank of your country can just overnight announce devaluation. Devaluation is a deliberate reduction in the value of your currency against international currency. And if you depreciate, you allow your country to float. Nigerians, like I said, the economy of Nigeria is very weak. And if you, as long as your economy is very weak, if you don't subsidize, you will kill that country. What you need to do when you talk about subsidy is lock this country. You understand? We create a gestation period within which the refineries must work. Turn them around. If you cannot turn them around, dismantle them. If you cannot, buy new ones or replace them. It's possible. But if you say you are going to subject Nigerians, right, to externalities, like I said.
We have already been subjected to
No, but that is why
externalities.
I mean,
right now we're still importing petrol.
Yes.
All the petrol consumed in this country was seen is imported. We've been exposed to externalities a long time
now
ago.
you will understand that subsidy will never work in Nigeria except we internalize things. And let me explain. And let me tell you how, I don't want to use negative words, but look at one thing that happened to tell you the kind of marketers that we have. And that was why I said concepts work all over. If all these concepts work in other clients or other countries and they are not working in Nigeria, they are worldwide accepted concepts. That simply means Nigeria and Nigerians are the problems. Subsidy, as me and you know, have been removed on diesel, right? But all of us knew that even when the price of crude oil in the international market went down, the price of diesel didn't go down in Nigeria. We all know this. So the way you do, what you just do simple about subsidy is this. Lock your economy, right? And make sure within a given time frame, right, you internally refine. If you don't want to if you want to encourage refiners.
What then happens in the meantime? The difference between now and, you know, the last time we had the petrol queues, when it was really biting hard and when, you know, subsidy was removed and only to be, you know, shared between the consumer and the federal government, there was electricity. We're in a situation where electricity is also non-existent, it would seem, and then you also have a situation where there's no petrol, you know, to even put in the cars.
Unfortunately, that was why we said we have those I describe as probably political pathogens within political governance. Remember, during that the subsidy crisis, the government promised the citizens refineries, pilot refineries, right? Somehow, somewhere, no one can tell.
So if they had shut the nation, shut it off, we'll lock it down and we'll say, we want to fix things.
You will fix it.
Those refineries would have worked.
They will have worked. And one thing is this. Anybody that will tell you that if you come in today and you're given a license to refine internally, and anybody tells you that the government of that local country will be selling to you at an international price, that government is not wishing you well. I will never waste my time establishing a local refinery if crude oil will be sold to me at an international price.
Are you making excuses for the people who have been given licenses? Because, I mean, that hasn't stopped the people who want to establish refineries from establishing them.
Let me tell you, we heard that they will be sold this crude at an international price. It doesn't mean, why would
we have not gotten there.
Well, there are reasons why they have not. That one is one. Access to fund and collateralization is an issue.
So why did they apply for the licenses?
No, why wouldn't you apply? Is it not your country?
No,
you want to participate. You want to boost the aggregate economy.
If you're not sure of access to funds, if you're not sure, well, what did you call it, collateralization?
Yes.
If you're not sure of this, why go for to apply?
Conditions. You see, one thing about this country, and we must, because after now we will need to list the key things the incoming government must do or watch or look out for in the oil and gas industry. You know, in Nigeria, I am telling you, most of the time, it is when you get there, at the point of going in for these contracts and the bidding, that you see some of the conditions. Sometimes they are scary. I'm a practitioner, I'm a player in the oil and gas industry. Because as I can explain to you now, let me just run through expectations or what we would want to see the government do. We've discussed refineries already. I can tell you that the bidding for marginal fields is still there, the licensing rounds. It is only in Nigeria that you start a process and at the end of the day, you just jettison it halfway.
So how has it been done? Sorry, Mark. How has it been going on that?
It has been jettisoned after some time. This is the same country that we said by the year 2020, we are supposed to have been able to up our aggregate or national hydrocarbon reserve to about 40 billion barrels. We are still at about 36, 37. This is the country you are saying by 2020, you are supposed to make sure production per day is up to about 4 million.
What has the bidding process been like? You say this has been jettisoned.
Well, you see, the thing is this. You're giving conditions for bidding, right? They will tell you what you are expected to do, probably refinery capacities and whatever. But you see, take it or leave it, right? There are certain conditions that will never help anybody to grow. You have people that want to be institutional investors, and you have some people that want to be briefcase investors. And that was why I said, personally, if I will need only one condition, is what I just want to quickly explain. If I will need to establish a refinery in Nigeria and be contending with overheads of staff, right? Then contending with taxes and contending with obligations for corporate social responsibilities, and you will sell crude to me at an international price, is a waste of time. I would rather decide to be an importer, and in a maximum, because to build a refinery may take you like 2 years, probably 3 years, or even 4 years. I would prefer to be an importer, such that in a maximum of 3 months, I can always bring in these refined products.